gang, welcome to DK3 WTF. It's a new miniseries where we're going to go down the dusty, windy, noir-filled road of The Dark Knight Returns 3, The Master Race, and give you our overall impressions and rundowns of what's happening in this Frank Miller, Brian Azzarello team-up. Although, I should say, right off the bat, according to Frank Miller in new reports, apparently Frank Miller had almost nothing to do with this book. Evidently, from his announcement of writing Dark Knight 4, seemingly all by himself this time, when people asked to clarify, he said something to the effect of, "This is more Brian Azzarello's baby, and I was more along for the ride."
That's a hell of a team-up.
What were your thoughts? Overall, just really quick opinions of Dark Knight 3, the first issue of Master Race.
It's cool.
Wow.
You said
thought
quick.
it was cool. All right, yeah, that's true. That's true. Tiffany?
I thought it was like they gave somebody a How to Make a Dark Knight kit.
That's exactly what it was. Right?
Yeah.
Because Brian Azzarello is a Batman writer. And when I say he's a Batman writer, I mean he's written Batman stories that people consider to be seminal Batman stories, or at least stories that take place in the Pantheon. I don't like Brian Azzarello's writing, so seeing him paired with Frank Miller, whose writing I have had less enthusiasm for as the decades go on, I was actually kind of intrigued. So I'm like, oh, here's a writer who's clearly competent. I just hate his work, and here's a writer whose work I used to love, who's clearly become incompetent. What will we get? And what we get for me is a patchwork of images that we like from the first one, and obligatory references to the second one. For me, the art is the best part of this book.
Yes.
That's what I'll say. But before we get into the art, let's just talk a little bit about this book. We got it on digital, but you can also get it, obviously, in paperback, in individual issues. I'm sure they're going to go with some crazy prestige format when it comes all together when they collect it.
The book itself is a heavier cardstock cover.
It is. So, it's a pretty book. DC's clearly spending money on this.
Yeah.
And they're expecting you to spend money on this.
Oh, no doubt.
And there's a lot to it, though, because you got the backup stories. So
yes.
At least they're charging you an arm and a leg, but you're getting
2 stories. Or really more like one story,
1.5 stories.
and a story that explains what makes sense in the first story. Yeah, so, alright, let's get into the art.
Sure.
It's Andy Kubert drawing it.
Yeah.
For the first part, and then the second part's a backup that's written by Frank Miller and drawn by Frank Miller.
He drew that one?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I think he had help.
Because it didn't look different, right?
It definitely
It's a stark difference from Andy Kubert's pencils,
but didn't know it was
I believe he had help making that backup.
See, for me, looking at Laura, she looked the same in each one.
She does look the same.
Wow,
yeah,
that's really good.
That's because Kubert is drawing...
affecting the Frank Miller style.
Yeah, Kubert is drawing as though he were Frank.
Yeah.
Which is like...
Which speaks really highly of his work, too.
Well, it's...
Well, no, I mean, like, the reason he's doing that is that it fits into the Dark Knight lore, and it's not so shocking, and it's less comparative, I guess, and yet it's entirely comparative, and it's just really interesting because the first book is so beautiful to me.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Miller's art is bizarre, but great.
Yes.
And because of the fact that it's all traditional, it's just awesome, and then the second book is so strange because he wanted to do digital, and this is almost like a result of those 2 books together, where we have the really interesting digital coloring that actually works this time on a style that's almost his, but not quite. But there are these really clear-cut moments where I'm like, that is a Frank Miller image, and it's because we've seen stuff similar to that, especially when it comes to Wonder Woman, and a lot of female faces.
Oh yeah. There were a lot of images that were evocative of the first one, not so many of the second one. It's funny, when they make references to, like, Dark Knight 1, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every time you see Batman kicking ass and taking names, every time you see Commissioner Yindel doing her thing, every time you see Gotham, there's not much in the terms of story here.
No, well, aside from the surprising amount of narration from every single character,
right?
That just fills up the pages.
And doesn't give you any context. Like, I have no idea what's happening in this.
Until the Batman fight, or rather, like... Alright, so we're spoiling this,
We're spoiling this book. So if you don't want to be spoiled by Dark Knight 3 Master Race #1, you can go to the time right below me, and it'll go to the end of the video, and you can see all the goodies that we have at the end of there. There's a panel we should talk about at the end of the fight where it's obviously Carrie Kelly in the costume, even though you knew it was her from the beginning. I mean, like, I don't know who they were planning on surprising with that reveal. When you have the Batman costume. The Batman costume is in the cave! And then it's shattered, and then it's gone! Who took it? Probably the person who put it there.
See, I was assuming that Batman was somehow still alive.
Yeah, that's true. He was nearly dead in the second. Well, anyway, but I don't blame you for not remembering the second one. The point being, for me, I was like, no duh. But that one panel reveal where she's like, you know, doing something. Mm-hmm. The line is her.
I know. I was like.
And I looked up online. There's a lot of discussion about this. I immediately assumed that she was bawling.
I thought she was laughing.
See, that's funny because that's the first time I've heard that. I heard other people say that they thought that she was breathing heavily. I have no idea.
That's really
what she's doing.
Wow, I really thought she was like doing this really weird like laugh, like this, like I'm been punched in the chest a whole bunch, and there's a lot of fluids here, but I'm still laughing.
Right.
See, I thought it was having trouble breathing too. It's a really bad onomatopoeia for whatever they're trying to describe.
Well, that's where I think Frank Miller really shines. Because he deliberately put in the words that Brian Azzarello would never put into a comic, just so that your audience is completely baffled by a very obvious looking image. Like, it's an image where you're like, oh, Andy Kubert has given us a beautiful image of a person who is clearly in a suit too big for them, and wow, but I have no idea what they're doing in it.
It might as well have been derp, derp, derp.
Yeah, that's what people are like calling it. Like, not necessarily the derp, but they're basically saying, what is this and why? It doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, I guess it could be breathing heavy.
Like,
yeah, like it could be that. It could be her saying like her, like she's like
she's
crying. Yeah, like she's she's laughing. No, I meant she's crying.
Here's my question, and I think Kubert did a really fine job because I went back and I was like, wait a minute, okay, you kind of covered your ass there because I was like, how do we like? Clearly, it looks like a man in the suit.
Yes.
But he really does a good job of never showing you the wrists or like the forearm.
Yes.
Or, like where the glove.
Yeah, the cape covers it, or the glove covers it.
Or you see it coming into a panel, so you see that. So you never see that huge gap.
Right.
And I was like, fair enough.
Right. Good job.
Right, like, that's pretty cool.
And that one spot where you see the hand punching a face, you see the knuckles really extended because the glove is too big for the hand, and the part that's hitting is really accentuated.
There's good and bad, I think. But for me, even the highest good is just, it is evocative of the stuff I like. It's not anything that's genuinely original or exciting. There's nothing about it that makes me really excited about issue 2, except where we're going to go from here. But I gotta be honest here, even Darknet 2 made me want to know what's happening in issue 2 more than this issue 1. Like, I was like, this is baffling and ridiculous. Even All-Star Batman and Robin. I was like, where are we going to go from here?
Well, then it's a roller coaster.
That was a roller coaster. This is no roller coaster. Or if it is, it's one of those little roller coasters that you tell your kids is a roller coaster, but we all know it's not a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's one of the kiddie rides.
Yeah,
it's a little train and there's a little bump.
There's a little bump, exactly.
That's it.
Yeah. And for me, like, the little bump was, they're like, Superman is encased in ice.
See, my cool was, I really like Wonder Woman stuff, and I love the baby on her back. Mm-hmm. And I love the baby on her back when she's fighting that Minotaur monster, and the baby has this surprised face like...
It can't be a Minotaur. It has to be a Minotaur, because it's like
Centaur.
A centaur and a Minotaur at the same time.
Alright. For me, my favorite moment in this book was probably just the images, just the visuals. There's nothing about this book that made me go, holy crap, that's amazing. There were, and for me, it was little things that I was like, this is cool, but it really did feel like a paint by numbers moment.
Wait, are we just talking about the first part of the story?
Yeah, I'm not talking about the Atom. I don't know.
Because, I mean, it's part of the book.
We'll get into the Atom,
okay.
But for the Batman stuff, okay. You could talk about the Atom because I don't like it. I thought that it was stupid.
I like the idea of where they're going with Kandor.
I like that, but, like, that's part of the overall story.
Yeah, but, like, that was cool.
But, yeah, okay,
they want to be big.
Yes, but that was the only moment. There were so many pages of the shit we saw in the last one.
You know what's funny, though? That extra story, that narration
is better.
Is better.
Yeah.
It is better. And you know what?
because Frank.
It's Frank's, and
but it's just like bizarre to say because he's out of his mind.
Yes, but the monologuing, the narration, Frank knows how to make a character, describe exactly what they're doing while they're doing it, and it's always better. This is the backup has the best line in the book, which is they're tired of feeling small or being small. Kubert shows us Miller's Gotham City, and with all the iconography and all the great beautiful buildings and silhouetted against a sunset, and I'm like, this is great. But again, I'm like, but I saw it already. Like, this is cool, and it would be even cooler if it was original. It's hard to imagine. It's funny because for me, we've gotten so much Frank Miller's Batman, right? We had Dark Knight, we got Batman Spawn, we got All-Star Batman, we got Dark Knight 2, where Frank Miller's like, here's Batman, and you're like, what? Stop.
That is really far, man.
And we've all been like talking about how ridiculous it is and how funny it is and how, how bad it is. I think that what's worse is delivering a boring Batman. How about you? Favorite breakout moment from this book? Like, is there anything?
No, I mean, there was I'm looking at the panel where Kara Kelly Batman is on the ground, and for me it's a beautiful visual. It's just stark lights and darks, and it's very Miller to me. Mm-hmm. For me, I don't know why, art wise and narration wise, I feel like it came closest in the Wonder Woman section. Mm-hmm. Her narration is pretty good, and there's some really great images of her with the helmet, you know what I mean? We get a little boob in there.
We do.
Which that's very Frank Miller.
Yeah.
Me. I don't know, there's just something about it. And there's that shot of her with the helmet, and it's all dark.
Yes.
And I'm like,
that's Miller.
That's Miller.
Yeah, where there's shadows where there would never be shadows, but it doesn't matter.
But it looks awesome.
It looks cool, so shut up.
Yeah, so who the hell cares?
Yeah.
But for me, that was just so Frank Miller. That whole section.
But good Frank Miller. The Frank Miller you want.
Good Frank Miller. I was struck, of course, by the fact that they went, batshit crazy when it came to doing the
Wonder Woman story?
No, the news.
Oh, God.
Which I know, that is a huge staple.
Yes, of the Dark Knight universe
and
Frank Knight.
To have the 24-hour news outlets doing their thing.
Yeah.
But this was so over the head.
Yes, it was.
It's been done.
It's been done
twice.
Better,
but it has to be done, and I understand that it has to be.
Yes,
there.
but it has to echo It has to echo the theme of the story.
Yes.
It has to punctuate what's actually happening. This is just a context dump.
Yeah,
it was just talking heads showing us. And by the way, Miller already did in Dark Knight 2. People on the actual news rendered in Dark Knight Returns format. We've seen a bunch of characters, including Bill O'Reilly and Donald Rumsfeld, and we've seen all these we've seen that done before. They do it again. Yeah. We got Jon Stewart. We got Bill O'Reilly. We get Reverend Al Sharpton.
Yeah.
Come on.
What's their faces?
I don't even know who they are.
I don't think that this isn't modern because, to be fair, we live in a world where 24-hour news is a thing.
Right.
And they definitely try to do everything they can to keep you hooked.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that he certainly saw the writing on the wall back in the day, and he continued it today. Yeah. I just don't think it was, or he didn't do it. They did. Apparently based on his.
Right. His comments.
I just don't think it was handled as well, like you said.
Yeah.
And
it's funny because he was actually Miller even made it more modern in Dark Knight 2 with making them all on the internet.
Yeah.
And really hammering in the 24 hours news. He's doing the people that we see are not 24-hour news. Jon Stewart was a 30-minute program. Morning shows are not 24 hours. Bill O'Reilly is just one segment of 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's just a morning show. Reverend Al isn't even a TV personality.
No, he's a 5-minute interview.
Yeah. This was so weird.
It was just lobbed over the plate. Oh, there.
It really felt like a fan fiction book. This felt like a fan writing their sequel to Dark Knight. And tried to skip as much of the stuff that nobody liked as possible. That said, like the texting was so terrible.
Yeah.
With their fake non-mutant blend of modern like leet speak with like mutant, future speak.
Yeah.
If you're gonna show a Gotham that's set today, you can't do future speak. Like, you have to do what people say
That
today.
was the most confusing part of it for me.
By the way, I read it first, and it was frustrating as all hell.
Because
like, that whole opening sequence.
Hard to make out.
Hard to make out, and I'm trying to, like, take in the image while also... Because I know that it's a marriage of visuals and words, and so I'm trying to take in the words while I'm also processing the images, and it was frustrating as hell. And then, earlier today, I just looked over the art. The art's brilliant. It's gorgeous, and it looks awesome.
It's clean.
It's
really clean.
It is, and it's a little too clean.
That's exactly that irritated the hell out of me.
Yeah, it was very different from the rest of the book.
Yeah, well, the last two books, even Jim Lee's pencils, have a roughness to them.
Yeah, and Miller's art definitely had that, and that's where I was like,
yeah.
And then to see the backup story
is so much more rough.
Yeah, and I'm like, there it is. Weird and strange.
Yeah, weird, and I don't want that.
That's really what I wanted.
Where's the Frogman coming in? He's got to be there somewhere.
Where's the Frog Brainiac character? Alright. There's so much to say and so much to get into that I'm going to leave it up to you guys in the comments. Let us know what you thought of Dark Knight #1, and what do you think is happening next. We're going to get into our speculation. Tiff and I talked earlier, so we'll get into it, but, like, Ben, what do you think's happening next? Just blind speculation. Dark Knight 2... Or Dark Knight 3, Issue 2.
Blind speculation, if I had to guess, I'd say that Batman is still alive, clearly. I really think that they're setting, like, either he left Carrie, or Carrie thinks that, like, this is a big plot point, like, maybe this is something that she has to do to, like, convince the world that, like, Batman is dead, so that when he comes back, it's even better.
Okay.
I don't fucking know.
Kind of like that.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's if that's the play, that's a weird play. That's like look what do I have over here, and it's sleight of hand, and ooh,
right, but
Batman.
It's like, we've already done the reveal. You can't do another reveal.
I would rather he be dead. I would rather he actually be dead, and she's just freaking out, trying to figure out, like, he was supposed to be the Batman. I'm not supposed to be the Batman. What do I do?
Yeah.
I want that. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Cool.
As far as the Kandorians?
Yeah, well, I mean the Kryptonians from Kandor. So, yeah, I'd say Kandorians.
Alright. So
just like New Yorkers.
With the Bottled City, I'm really hoping that they do get,
big,
mega-sized
to
normal size, really.
Yeah.
But I want to see that. I want to see a whole lot of superpowered people from Krypton on the planet. I've wanted that for a long time. So, let's do this.
Well, they already did that.
Yeah, I was like, there's a book like that.
The funny thing is, they actually did that already.
What book was that?
That's what sucks about this plot point. Because, like, obviously the Master Race is going to be the Kandorians becoming big and probably taking over. There's already a story where they make the Kandorians, like, big again. And then they just take over.
Yeah, clearly Lara is going to...
We should cover them in Becky.
I agree. It's a good story, kind of.
Clearly Lara is going to lead them.
Yes.
The way that she thinks her father
would want.
Should have.
Right, that's it. Now, we talked about this a little bit, because you reminded me that there are actually two races in this book. There's the Kandorians, and there's the Amazonians.
Yes.
And what was your thing?
My thing was, I had originally thought that the Amazonians were going to be the master race. Clearly, it's not really going that way.
Right.
Because they introduced the Bottle City of Kandor.
Right.
And simply because of that.
Yeah.
Like, if they hadn't introduced that, I'd be still like...
The Amazonians?
No, it's going to be the mutants.
I think.
No!
Oh my god. And they'd be Billy
We were here! We were underground the whole time!
Oh my god.
But,
That'll happen.
You brought up a really good point that, like, the end result could lead to an actual master race.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see, at least at the end, we're going to see a blend. We're going to see the Amazonians are going to come out of hiding to battle the Kryptonians, and I think that the end result is going to be that the Kryptonians and the Amazonians are going to interbreed, and the result will be the master race.
They're going to get together and fight, but then, like, during the battle, neither side is winning, and it just turns them on so much.
Yeah, and then it just becomes an orgy.
A giant orgy, and then they all have kids.
You know,
it's not like all the Kryptonians are men.
No, I know.
That's what makes it cool.
Yes, that's why it's a great book, and it's going to be awesome. That's very Frank Miller. Maybe.
It's interesting, and that baby's gonna play
Oh, yeah.
an integral role.
I hope.
I also like the fact that she didn't name either of her children after her own culture or heritage. I was
Nope.
like,
One can be named a Kryptonian, and the other one can be named after your foster dad.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
I will have no child named after.
Well, they could have another one. If Superman, thaws out and does anything.
See,
Well,
what if
it's all frozen. It's okay. That's what they do.
Right,
That's
yeah.
like in a lab.
Yeah, but how are you going to get it out? Like, it's not like you can stick them with a needle.
I think Superman will come up with a few ideas how to get it out.
I'm wondering how long they're going to let this go as it is, because right now you have a focus on Lara, a Next Generation,
Right.
and Carrie Kelly
Yes.
taking on the roles.
Now, that'd be cool.
Taking on the roles that their predecessors took on, and both of them doing it kind of incorrectly.
Right. Both of them thinking they know what's best for the legacies of their mentors.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's probably Azzarello. It's funny trying to pick out who's who, but that's cool. If we see that carry over, I will give this book higher marks. We'll see what happens with issue 2. I don't know, but
no matter what, we're going to keep reading it.
Yep, and we will let you guys know what we think. And of course,
if nothing else, the book is itself thought-provoking.
Yes.
Just like every Dark Knight book has been.
Yeah, even
good or bad.
Even the ones that we think are horrible,
it's
you know what? They make you think and they make you have an opinion. And so
they provide good conversation.
That's true. And that's really all you can hope for with good entertainment.
Yeah. Right.
So let us know in the comment section down below what do you think is going to happen in issue 2 and what you think was awesome or horrible in this issue. We'll see you guys next time with another episode of DK3 WTF. We'll see you guys next time. I'm Sal.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Tiffany.
Thanks for watching.